Does Stoicism believe in God? If you're looking for a simple yes or no answer, you're not going to find one. Because the truth is, Stoicism challenges everything we assume about God, religion, and the nature of the universe. And if you think you already have it figured out, you might want to think again. The Stoic definition of God. Most people assume that belief in God means believing in a personal deity, someone who listens to prayers, rewards the good, and punishes the wicked. But Stoicism doesn't work that way. The ancient Stoics didn't see God as an all-powerful being sitting on a throne. Instead, they talked about logos, a rational force that governs everything. You could call it the laws of nature, the order of the universe, or even fate. To the Stoics, God wasn't a who, it was a what. This is where things get uncomfortable. If God is just the rational structure of the universe, what happens to personal faith? What happens to miracles? What happens to the idea that someone is watching over us, guiding us, or protecting us? What the Stoics really believed. Some Stoics, like Cleanthes, spoke about Zeus, but not the Zeus of mythology, hurling lightning bolts. They used Zeus as a metaphor for the divine order of the universe. Others, like Marcus Aurelius, preferred to speak of nature instead of a personal god. And then, there's Epictetus. He took it even further, saying that whether you believe in a traditional god or just nature itself, your job is the same. Accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. That's a problem, isn't it? Because most of us don't want to just accept reality. We want to believe in something bigger, something personal, something that gives meaning to our struggles. What if you've been lied to? Let's get real for a moment. What if everything you've been taught about God, about faith, destiny, divine justice, was just a human invention? Think about it. Every religion, every culture, every civilization has created its own version of God. Why? Because we're terrified of the idea that no one is in control, that life is just randomness and chaos, that there's no grand plan, no divine protector, no reward waiting at the end of our struggles. What if that's the truth? What if the universe doesn't care about fairness? What if bad people get away with things and good people suffer for no reason? Not because of some divine test, but because that's just how the world works. Most people can't handle that idea. They need to believe that everything happens for a reason, that there's a higher power watching over them, that if they just pray hard enough, have enough faith, or follow the right rules, they'll be protected. But the Stoics, they rejected that illusion. They looked at life as it really is, not as they wished it to be. So now, I'll ask you, are you brave enough to do the same? Because if you are, you might realize something shocking. You don't need a God to tell you how to live. You don't need divine approval to be a good person. And you don't need faith to find meaning. You just need the courage to accept reality without excuses. The controversial truth. Here's the part that might make you uncomfortable. Stoicism doesn't give you the comforting version of God. There's no divine intervention, no grand plan for your personal happiness, no guardian angel fixing your problems. The Stoic version of God doesn't care about what you want. It doesn't respond to prayers. It doesn't bend the universe to fit your desires. And that's exactly why Stoicism is so powerful. Because instead of hoping that God will change the world for you, Stoicism teaches you to change yourself. Think about that for a second. What if everything you've been taught about faith, destiny, or divine justice is just your own mind trying to make sense of chaos? What if the real answer is that the universe doesn't owe you anything and never did? Why this matters to you. Now, you might be thinking, well, if there's no personal God, what's the point of anything? But that's exactly the wrong question. Stoicism doesn't take away meaning. It forces you to create your own. It doesn't promise divine rewards. It tells you to be good because it's the right thing to do. Most people rely on God for comfort, for hope, for a reason to keep going. Stoicism removes that safety net and asks, can you still live a good life without it? Can you still do what's right, even if no one is watching? That's the real challenge. And that's why Stoicism isn't for everyone. A hard truth. If you need to believe in a personal God, that's fine. Stoicism won't argue with you. But it will ask you one thing. Are you following God because you need a sense of control over the chaos? Or are you following reason because it's the best way to live? Because in the end, Stoicism doesn't demand that you stop believing in God. It just asks you to believe in yourself first. If you've made it this far, you have two choices. You can walk away from this video, dismiss everything, and go back to believing what's comfortable, or you can face the truth. You don't need a personal God to live a meaningful life. You don't need a divine plan to do what's right. You just need the strength to take responsibility for yourself. No excuses, no prayers, just action. So, here's my challenge to you. Drop a comment below. Do you believe Stoicism and faith can coexist? Or does this philosophy destroy everything religion stands for? Let's hear your thoughts. And if you want more hard-hitting Stoic truths that challenge the way you think, hit that subscribe button. Because in the end, only one thing matters. What are you going to do with what you've just learned?